This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you. Call into order. It's 7:01, December 15th. Public Safety Committee. I just wanted to get together. We're going to everyone. I think everyone probably got the department reports.
Yes.
Well, first, let's get approval of the minutes. I'll go in order over here. I'm sorry. Approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay. I'll second.
Thank you, Laura. All right. Okay, so we got a hold of some of the department reports, and I had a chance to look at it. Does anybody have any questions from some of them?
I just have a question for the police department.
Sure, go ahead.
Hey, Chief, do you have are there any concerns in our town with the ATVs that seem to be infiltrating our streets?
Yes, it's a big problem, but there's really not much we can do about it because of the way the law is set up. We cannot pursue them. So the best we can do is try to ID them after the fact by using any video that we can obtain. We have made arrests in the past, but what they're doing is they're wearing masks and covering up their faces. So
one of them was dressed like Santa, and they look like they have a couple of chase cars in the back. Like, I don't know what they are. They were kind of souped up cars, but there was like at least 50 or more on Main Street when we were kind of in the middle of it on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a real mess. But right now, like I said, I think it's time to start talking to politicians to see if they want to do something about it, because right now they've handcuffed us to the point we can't do anything about it.
Okay. They were very arrogant. They disregarded all the traffic signals, all the lights, even driving in the wrong direction. They were clearly arrogant and knew that nothing was going to happen to them. It was very.
It's a very unsafe situation, period.
It's intimidating when you get caught in some of those groups. They are intimidating.
Yeah.
Beyond reckless, but.
Yeah, they come right up to your car. They pop wheelies right next to your windows. It's pretty disconcerting. I would love to be able to figure out how we can do something about that. But
well, we are working with Bridgeport on it, where we're trying to access their cameras so we can follow where they're going, and then get them when they stop, or refuel, find out who's actually where they're going to get the fuel, getting the work done, getting repaired, and start shutting them down. But it's not in Stratford, it's Bridgeport.
Yeah, they were going right up Barnum Avenue towards Bridgeport. So, okay, thank you. I mean, everything else looked pretty status quo. A lot of car break-ins and all that, and package snatchings from people's front porches.
Yes, it is the season, as they say.
I just got the ring and installed it on my porch just a couple of days ago. And then I guess there's a way you could be part of the community in your neighborhood and see what other people's rings are showing. And it seems to be the pattern of the snatch and grabs and all the Amazon packages. But I did like last time when we were running for our position, Laura, I don't know if you noticed it. I did in my neighborhood. The first time I ran, going door to door, and then the second time I ran, rings were everywhere. So that I was hoping it was more of a deterrent device, but hopefully I know that the police work with it. And when I learn how to use it, I'll be happy to turn over any footage I can capture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was hoping for more of a deterrent when you have a camera right on your porch. But
yeah, that's the first thing we look for. We go around any neighborhood and start looking for who has cameras installed, ring, and it does help us a lot.
Mm-hmm. I bought one as a gift for my son, so.
They're fun right now. I've only been using them for a couple days.
Okay. Bill, it's Greg Ken.
Oh, great. Go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
Nothing to say, just letting you guys know I'm here.
Okay. We didn't get far, Greg. We're just talking about the department reports.
I thought you were talking about like home security.
Well, just the for the police department, the Amazon package is being stolen off the porches.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, it's Jim Duffy. Just two questions for you quickly, Chief McNeil. Regarding the ATVs, I know that New Haven has an ordinance they just passed, I believe, that allows them to seize the ATVs that are being used up there. Do we have anything currently in the town ordinance that would allow us to do that? And if not, is that something we should be looking to have the town council look into?
You know, I reviewed it briefly. The biggest part, you gotta catch them. If we catch them, we're gonna take it anyway. We're gonna tow it, and it'll be a high fine on it anyway. Is it something we can add? Sure. Will it prevent it? Will it stop it? No. We just have to stop this lawlessness. And you know, the better we get at tracking them down, that'll be the deterrence, really. I mean, you just look at these kids, right? That were on bicycles and what they did and havoc they created for us. And we have an ordinance and we can seize it, and they're still doing it, which is just, it's unbelievable. But, you know, these are 18, 19, 20, 22-year-olds on these ATVs. There has to be something more done to this as far as what the state wants to do. Take it serious. There has to be something held in the courts on this. You can't just, issue a fine and be done with it. Don't forget, a lot of these they don't own them. They're stolen. So that's the other problem. So, but I think right now we just have to get better at tracking them down, which is why we're having more unmarked cars out there.
A second question I had that went along with the ring. Are you guys part of the ring community through Ring? I know that a lot of departments I see, they list R, but I don't remember seeing you guys on there. And I know with that, you can actually request information to anybody in the area and they participate without going door to door. They can submit the information to you.
Yes, we are. But we also do go door to door too, because not everybody's on that. They don't share with us for whatever reason. But, we have our forensic guy, and he's out there almost every other day, pulling video from everywhere. So.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the chief?
Not right now, thank you.
Okay. Anybody have any other comments on any of the other reports, the EMS or dispatch?
Just for the fire department, the fire that just happened on Broadbridge Avenue.
Robert, yeah.
Just happened to know because the little girl Violet was on my grandson's soccer team this past fall. Do they have any idea how that started?
Is anyone on the fire department? Larry, are you on? Anybody?
I can hold off for later. Yeah.
Sorry. All right. All right. So moving on, this is a short agenda. And I didn't really want to have a meeting just because we're so close to Christmas, but sometimes we get to see how slow things move. And the town attorney had proposed a draft about the golf cart ordinance. And so I think it got distributed to everybody else. It's not our job to present this, but it was our job to review it to see how we felt as a professional opinion on it. And I talked to all the department heads on it, and I got their feedback. I did talk to the fire chief. He's not here, but I know I spoke with him. Jim Wiltz, he's a sergeant in Fairfield PD. I talked to him this afternoon. He could not make it. He's working this evening, but he did get a copy of the thing, and I took notes from what he was looking at. What I did learn was this ordinance, if we put it together, will be approved by the traffic commission. From what I understand from talking to the town attorney, if your town charter has a traffic commission, then that commission will deal with a golf cart ordinance. So it won't be presented to the town council doesn't have the authority to okay this ordinance. So talking to Chris Pia, who penned the ordinance, kind of really just was looking for our professional feedback on what we can do. And then the town attorney put together a draft from looking at the 2 or 3 other, Brian Lampart's just texting me, he's on, but he can't be heard.
Okay.
So they looked at some of the existing golf cart ordinances, and we talked to the town attorney with some of our, last time we met as a committee, some of our concerns and what we thought we want to add to that. And so he came back with this with a few open-ended fill in the blanks of maybe some of our suggestions. Ultimately, it would be in the hands of the traffic commission, but I would like to present something completed that we agreed on in our professional opinions, so that they don't have to do any heavy lifting with any of this. And it's open to discussion. I've got my notes, but I'd be happy to hear what some other people, and there's Larry. Okay. Larry. Oh, there he is, Anna.
I heard the police going around today dropping off the gift. That was really fun.
Bill, so the first open items are 2.3 and 3. So it looks like they're looking for who should be registering these things.
Yes, and I talked.
Which is probably a
Go ahead.
big open question.
Yeah. So my opinion on this, what I thought would make sense is, I'm comparing this with if someone was going to live out of town and they wanted to register their trailer to use the boat ramp, and that goes through the Recs department. Talking to a few other people, we didn't want to get in the business of inspecting these golf carts. If somebody buys a new car, it doesn't get inspected. It becomes a situation where their golf cart is involved in an incident and it's missing equipment. It'll be dealt with by through the investigation and charged whatever they have to be charged. But the sticker, I believe, should be, and we're talking about a number like $100 annually with the expiration date of the season that it's allowed to be in, similar to trailers that people use when they're using the boat ramp from out of towners, or just like our beach stickers. So if someone was interested in registering for the year, an annual fee, their golf cart, they would maybe go to the rec department and get stickers that serial number of a sort. And then also we're thinking about maybe handing some information about the course, like you need seatbelts, you need headlight, you need a warning flag, you need these are the hours you're allowed to operate, and these are the roads you cannot operate on. So just a pamphlet of education along with the sticker, and they would go to the rec department to get that. That was just my idea, but for converse, the rec department, right?
Right. Any have we had any conversations with them at all? I'm just wondering if they're what their feelings about.
I don't think we're going to have 100 vehicles. I don't know what kind of what kind of workload it would be put on them. And I'm not saying they would cooperate or not, but for tonight, if that is our suggestion, that'll be in the hands of the town attorney and those departments.
Got it.
We're not okay in this ordinance, but they're looking for us to use our heads here and see what we think about it. And I just kind of want to fill in those few blanks, and maybe a few other changes to that. When it goes to the town attorney, they'll have something complete, and then the traffic committee will.
I'm thinking that is probably the most logical thing to do, right? The rec department, the sticker, and then
Yeah.
a set of rules or however you want to. And then
Yeah, I think it's logical because they do it for the boat ramp, and they do it for all our stickers. So if someone's coming in to get their sticker for the season and they happen to have a golf cart, if that's how we're going to identify they're paying into the, I think it should be equally done in 2 years. But this is there's a lot of talk about this, and it's not for everybody, and I get that, but some people that may have the advantage of working out
Yeah, Bill, it's Greg Can. Bill?
Go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Two items came to mind. Just to put them out there. One would be, there are some criteria for golf cart in the document, but is there a definition for what a golf cart is versus another vehicle that may be of similar size but is not really a golf cart?
So this is from my research, my understanding, and I'll get a better answer for you. The state of Connecticut already recognizes a golf cart the type of vehicle that it is. And this is going to be something in our conversation here too when we try to think about what the fine is going to be. There's some situations that an investigating officer, if the golf cart's involved in something, they have the option of writing the state infraction or the violation of the town ordinance. If you're drunk driving in a golf cart, obviously that's not a town ordinance. You can be arrested for, the state infractions. But the state does have a definition, and they recognize a golf cart as its own type of vehicle. So we would probably adopt what that definition is.
Okay.
With the town attorneys. And that, I don't want to jump ahead, but I will, since you said that. One thing that we did mention, again, this was just threw it together for tonight, but there's one part that the town attorney wrote that no more than 4 occupants in a golf cart. However, there are golf carts that hold 6 people. So I'm going to look that they change the language to no more occupants in the golf cart than the seat belts allow, or however we have to define that. If there's a golf cart that has 6 people and 6 seat belts, then you can have 6 people in there. If it has 4 seat belts, you can't have 7 people in there. The seat belt thing would be the same. So however golf cart's defined, I know some of the equipment may be different through every golf cart because they're different sizes.
Thank you, Bill. The second item would be inclement weather. If it's a thunderstorm or if it's snowing out, should there be conditions related to visibility that would restrict when it can be used?
That's a good question. I never had that discussion, but I would say that as a golfer, they do have windshields, the golf carts I've driven, they go on, I don't know that, but maybe just like on a motorcycle or, and on these little mini bikes that everybody's riding around, you're supposed to have some eye protection, whether it's a windshield, or maybe if you aren't caught in the rain, you have to have some eye protection. That we're going to have to look into that because that's a great question, and that's the first I've heard of that.
Hey, Bill, Chief McNeil, can I make a recommendation?
Yes.
Just have a season, like have it end at a specific date.
Okay.
Go through like, May or April to like September or something like that.
Okay.
At least for the first part of it.
Yep.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, having somebody on the road with in icy weather with a golf cart is probably not the best thing we could do either. So I think the seasonal thing's actually a good suggestion. Just my 2 cents.
I think the
I had
seasonal
thought
thing
about
is a good idea too, and I think you should just coordinate it with maybe perhaps the beach season, like the beach stickers. I think it starts April 1st and it goes to October 31st.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking March 15th to October 15th or so. Yeah, but yes, I had thought about the seasonal thing.
I have a quick question if I can.
Sure.
Item 4.
Well, the other thing, can I just
Go ahead.
go ahead? Can I just make one quick comment? I'm sorry, Laura.
Okay.
I also think to Chief McNeil's point here, we need to simplify this. The more complex it becomes, the more arduous, the more people are going to complain, the more it's going to take up manpower and time and money to manage these golf carts. Make it very plain and simple, limit the season, and limit the dynamics of that. And that's all you have to do.
Yeah, we can have. I have no problem adding the season to this and have the town attorney write it up appropriately. I don't know that this will all be, with these ideas, we'll get all ideas over to the town attorney, see what they get as a finished product.
I just have a comment about item 4.2, which
Yep.
kind of addresses what I'm talking about. It just says all applicable Connecticut local laws and regulations governing the operation of a motor vehicle shall apply to the operation of a golf cart. Would it be better to just be more specific and say observe all the posted traffic light signs, roads, lines, and general rules of the road, as like be real specific that you're expected to drive this thing with the same rules as a car?
Right.
Bill, Alex, I think that's so broad. It's probably good for us as far as law enforcement, because it's all the Connecticut statutes, all motor vehicle statutes,
The way it's written?
the way it is, right?
Yeah, so if they roll through a stop sign, they're not privy to
Right.
roll through stop signs. They have to stop. And that was going back to 4.1, looking at some other ordinances, they were using the age 18. I'm on a little more lenient to say if you have a valid Connecticut driver's license, you should be allowed to drive it. Most kids don't get their license till they're 17 anyway, but if you are privileged enough to drive a motor vehicle, I think you should be privileged enough to drive a golf cart. I wasn't going to hold it to the age of 18, but most kids are getting their license at 17 or 18 anyway. But I'd rather see them not be 22 years old with no valid driver's license and driving, as opposed to somebody that has a valid Connecticut driver's license that knows the Connecticut statutes and the rules of the road.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Just two things I wanted to bring up. One thing that was referred to in 4.2 that Chief McNeil also brought up. I do think that language is probably best because it allows the ordinance to still maintain its dynamic nature. So if something does change with Connecticut law, it doesn't cause any kind of a conflict with the local ordinance. So therefore, we wouldn't have to go back and try and revise that at all. Number two, I question 2.1. I know that there's mention that should follow all state traffic laws, but it only seems to mention on 2.1 seatbelts for rear facing. Maybe put in just that seatbelts should be required for all occupants, just to make it a little bit more clear. So whether it's forward or rear facing, seatbelts have to be for all occupants.
Okay, I'll note that for the attorney.
Thank you.
Yep. And I know we're going to have to talk about the penalty. And I spoke to the chief, and though this is maybe fun for some people, we're not trying to be. We're about safety, but we're also trying to deter bad behavior before someone does get hurt with maybe a hefty fine. And I don't know what the town attorney's ceiling is on a town ordinance violation. So if there are some charges of if they're out after night, that's a town ordinance that we're going to put into this. Maybe it's a $250, $500 fine. If they're running through a red light, if they're running through a stop sign, they could either be in violation of 4.2 in this ordinance and get a $500 ordinance violation, or they could be given an infraction to the state. But our revenue end on this, we would probably want the town ordinance to be enforced when you have the option, as opposed to the infraction, because there could be revenue in this. But hopefully, if there, we want it all to work safely, but if there's something heavy on the top end, it may really be a deterrent. If they're going to let their 14-year-old kid use it and they get a $500 fine, they would think twice. Or if they're going to really be misusing it after hours, they would understand it. But I would have to ask the town attorney, but one of the questions he's going to have is, what do you think the ordinance fine is going to be? So I'm leaving that up to you guys, or what you guys think about that.
Mr. Chairman, my thought is do a tiered structure, just so that, for example, the first violation might be 100, second 250, and then a third would be 500, just so that, you know, somebody does make a mistake the first time through, hopefully they learn from it and don't get hit too hard. But after that, as the structure increases, it's going to be a significant financial hit on them if they decide to continue to do that.
Sure. I mean, we can actually, in language down the road, seize it or tow it and cost them. All right. So you're thinking of a structure fine or a progressive fine. Anybody else have an idea on that? That's going to be at the advice of the town attorney, though. I don't know what our ceilings are, but that's, you know, we're more here on the safety end. That's more on the enforcement thing, the town attorney, but they did leave that open and I'll go with that. But on the top end, I would like to see it heavier than that for deterrent.
I would like to see it heavier as well.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of, like, I like the tiered idea too, if you want to do that. I don't know if that's complicated, but maybe issue a warning
Right.
first.
And then
Mr. Chair, Chris
500.
Susi, when you got a chance.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris, go ahead. I didn't know you were.
Hey, I kind of like Larry's simple thing. So I don't know if the tiered structure complicates matters. I don't know if that's a tracking issue for the PD. Like, are their officers going to know if it's a first offense? Can they track that in-house or?
Yes, they can. They can. They have access to our system.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Chris. Yeah, okay, so, but maybe we start off with a verb. Well, every incident is going to resolve itself. If it's something minor, they may get a verbal warning. Each officer has a right to use his discretion, but if it's a first offense, maybe we'll go 250 and then up to 500. Like I said, this is going to be there should be some revenue on this end. If we have $100 per vehicle, per golf cart that are going to register, I don't know how many we have in town or how many we will have in the future. There'll be some revenue there and the violations. But again, we're taking this in as a trial thing. Chief McNeil brought up a great idea last time we talked. We're going to see what this is. We're going to track the stats. We're going to see if it's just too dangerous, or if it's not dangerous, is it being abused too much, and we can discontinue this whole program. So those stats and all that's going to be reviewed at the end of the season. And then
So Bill, is this going to be a trial ordinance, or is this going to go through as a full-on ordinance? We talked about doing a trial. That's why I'm asking. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I would like to see it as a trial. I want to have confidence that the people that are going to enjoy these little vehicles, you know, it doesn't do me any good. I'm not going to have one, but the people that want to enjoy them, if they're going to be responsible and it's seasonal and they have a good time with it, it's a great little novelty. And then there's some revenue with the registering of it. If it's being abused, I think it should be a one-year trial and just let the people that want to have it behave with them and respect them and comply with everything. And then if we see that it goes well after a year review, then we could determine that it'll stand. The ordinance will stand, or make any changes if we want to make a change, lighten up here or tighten down here, and then say let's move on from there.
Sounds good.
And I agree, we're going to keep it simple, and I also agree with the motor vehicle language, because when they change their language, we don't have to change it. It's just it's all involved with the
Personally, I think the biggest infraction is going to be driving these after hours, half an hour prior to sunset.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing. They're going to want to take them to some restaurant, and it's going to get dark, and they're going to have to drive them home. So, I don't know.
It's going to be on them, and I know that there's a handful of people that are excited for it, and you know they'll have to police themselves if they, you know, if it gets out, people are abusing it, they're going to ruin it for themselves. I mean, we're here for the safety end of it, the social benefits of it. That's great for them if they have it. That's not our thinking here, and I hope they don't ruin it for themselves, but only they can. We're making this as safe as we could think. You can't be on a state road, and that's a state statute. You can only be on a road 25 miles or slower. You're going to only be on back roads. The majority of these are going to be probably operated in the Lordship area. You can't leave Lordship, whether it's the Burma Road or Main Street. If you're going to have them in Paradise Green, you can't get on Main Street. If you're going to have them on Housatonic Ave, you can't get on Ferry Boulevard. People are trapped. The biggest island to be trapped on would be Lordship, so it would be their benefit, but they can only, you're right. If they're going to be out at restaurants late at night and the police are called, they got to do it, whether it's a verbal warning or a significant fine, they'll have to deal with that.
Hey, Bill, Brian Lampard, can you hear me now?
Yes, Brian. Yep.
Sorry about that before.
Okay.
How many of these are we talking about? Do we have any idea?
I can't speculate. I mean, I'm sure there's some Lordship rumors that there may be 60 to 80 in existence. I retired a few years ago. I would find that hard to believe, but things could have changed in the last 5 years that they maybe come up more and more. I got to assume, and I know a lot of homeowners in that area would be excited to get one, so that would increase. And I would hope everyone would register them and for the revenue end of it. But I can't imagine there's going to be 100 golf carts just mowing over Lordship. But if it is, then this is something we may have to look back at in a year and say, it overtook the town. I don't know. I don't know how many to guess. Just some Lordship rumors out there.
Has there been any thought as far as the parking issue with these things? So in other words, if you get a group of 10 or 15 that are driving around the neighborhood and they all want to go to a restaurant and they're all going to take up 10 or 15 parking spots, and aren't we limited on parking spots down there already?
Yeah, we are with the seawall and beach parking spots. I mean, they're going to be town residents with town stickers. They'll probably be allowed in the beaches. We haven't had those problems that I'm aware of. As far as the safety end, one of the people that were excited about this ordinance that led us to some of the other statistics from other communities don't really show major accidents and fatal accidents or anything like that. No different than a mini bike or another recreational vehicle. We don't know what it would be like if they get the green light and all 80 are going to be on the road. I don't know what that would be like. But if we look at that for just this one season, that may be the determination that we can't continue to do it. And I don't know if that would be fair if people invest in an $8,000 golf cart and then tell them next year it's off. But that's part of looking back at it.
I'm going to put my foot in my mouth here, but I feel I need to say this. So I just spent my whole afternoon with the great people from Stratford PD and Stratford PAL, and we've been to a lot of houses. People that are just about getting by, and they're struggling. And I just find it kind of ironic that we're spending all this time today talking about golf carts down in Lordship, when I went to so many people today that were struggling just to get by, to keep their houses warm, to have gifts under the tree. It just annoys me a little bit. That's all. I just want to make a public comment on that. Thank you.
Perspective.
Okay, Larry, I was on mute. Okay, I point well made. And this was not, believe me, I wasn't having this meeting to overlook anybody's hardships. This was presented 3 or 4 months ago, and I just don't want to be holding up any town work at any given time. Going back to the ordinance. Well, those are the couple of questions that the town attorney wanted us to answer, and then we added a few, which were all valid, and I will bring all that to him, and he will copy, and then we can just send it out. We don't even maybe not need a meeting. I'll have the finished copy go out to everybody here in the committee and just feedback on it. And if we think it's pretty much in capital what we wanted to say, will be forwarded over to Stratford or wherever it goes after that. But we're just looking today to say on the safety end of it, we agree or not agree that with a few of these changes and with a 1 season trial, would we recommend this to go forward to another committee to make the decision. That's where I want to finish with that. Anybody have any input on that?
I think that works. Would this eventually go through ordinance then?
That's what the town attorney confused me with, but he says this doesn't, it'll go through an ordinance, right? Not through the
No,
council, but through
not
ordinance.
to the
Correct.
ordinance committee as a council.
Right. Yes, it'll be an ordinance at the recommendation of us, and if the traffic committee wants to move it forward for the year.
Mhm.
Any other discussion on the golf cart? Let's jump back since we got the fire chief on board here and Larry's here now. Did anybody have any question? We did have a question on the Broadbridge Avenue fire, Brian?
Yeah, Laura, I believe you asked that question. So,
Yeah.
believe it or not, we had 2 fires in almost the same neighborhood. They're probably at 6 or 8 houses apart, 1 month after the other. Anyways, the one you were talking about with the young kids, that was an accidental fire related to a cigarette lighter. So that's the cause of that fire. A lot of damage. They're going to be out of there for quite a while. Very small house. So I just wish them well. It appears that they have the proper insurance and all that, but any fire is just bad for everybody. It takes many, many, many months to get back into order. So just keep them in your thoughts.
There's several groups of people that are reaching out to that family for assistance. So I know that they're being helped by the Red Cross.
Are they in shelter? They're in a shelter, Brian? They're all safe right now?
Yes. I believe they're at the Homewood Suites.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian, they're at the Homewood, and the community services gave them some Walmart cards to be able to get toiletries and some initial clothing till they were able to get some money through their insurance.
Thank God everyone's okay. It's really heartbreaking this time of year, especially anytime, but especially now, the little kids.
If you're reaching out to them, Laura, I don't know if you know them personally, but if they need anything, please tell them not to hesitate to call. We do offer that the night of the fire, but not too often do we hear any feedback from people. Once the insurance get involved, they don't really call us. But if they need anything, let's reach out. We'll help them out.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the fire department? How about for public safety for Larry? Any questions? I know, Larry, you were talking about something with the schools update.
Yeah, a couple things with the schools, make it quick. As of right now, the school has enough PPE for staff and paraprofessionals right now. We're looking at a possible some additional training. I'm meeting with the union once a week or once every other week with Dr. Robinson. There is still a lot of concern from the educator perspective that if the school is safe or not. And that's an ongoing issue that hopefully education and actually evidence by showing how they operate within the schools and there's been no problems that have occurred will remedy that. But there's still a lot of hesitation about them working in the schools, and particularly if most of the students come back in. They feel there's not enough spacing for the students. And they also feel like with the additional kids, there's additional exposure and risk to the teachers themselves.
Now, statistically, we don't have an issue to support that. From Dr. Robinson says with the transmission isn't happening at the school level.
Right. And that's something that Dr. Robinson is getting through the state and through the national organizations. The big issue that we have is the ability of the kindergartners and the first graders and the English as a second language, ESL, to be able to adapt to the distance learning. So that's why we made it a point to bring them in early. and to get them off that staggered shift in order for them to start picking up on the education. They just can't do that on a distance learning perspective. But I mean, more to come.
Yeah.
The schools are going to be closed until Monday. They're going to be all distance learning due to the snow and for Public Works needing the additional time to clear the town and then the school lots. So they're all going to go distance learning until Monday. And then the high schools are distance learning until after the new year.
So I believe that Second Hill Lane is also closed until 2021. And I know of an instance there that I believe that it was the student that had COVID. So I'm not sure where Janet is getting her information from, but I do agree that the kindergartners and the first graders need to be in school. And I just don't know what it would take for the teachers to feel they're also in a safe situation. I work at a university. I'm not able to come onto campus without a negative test. I have to fill out an app that I personally declare that I think I'm fine. We had random testing. I just don't know if any of this is applicable to our school system, our public school system. I know that none of it is really a fail-safe answer. It's just another thing. So I understand the teacher's perspective, but as someone with my grandson who's a kindergartner, he has to be in school. You can't sit a kindergartner in front of a laptop all day.
I agree with you, even at another level, Laura. The teachers do a great job as mandatory reporters, and people the little people at that age that don't speak for themselves, teachers do find problems and report that to DCF where they can't speak for themselves. And, those kids have missed all that over the years too, or over the years since we've been out of school or in school and out of school. And I think it's important for the smaller students to be in the presence of a teacher to see what's neglect and dirty clothes and other conditions where they're mandatory reporters. And that really is how the system works to get to DCF to get the help the kids need. And they're not getting it if they're not in attendance. But that's the Board of Ed thing. Any other questions for Larry? All right, I just want to circle back. I'm going to take our notes and our consideration, head it over to the town attorney, see if they put it all together with his language and his suggestions. It'll be complete, and I'll circulate it to everybody, and we'll just see if it's okay with that. We don't have any table items, and then just new business, and it's very redundant because we have the best emergency departments around. But are we ready for the storm? We got the email that there's going to be alternate side of the parking. I know that the weather forecast could change, whether it hits us or misses us, but I'm confident that all our departments are ready. No news, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think
Okay.
everybody's ready, Bill. Yeah.
Yep. I'm sure of it.
This is nothing new.
Right. This is just winter in New England. I got it. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
If you don't mind, I just have one thing on
Yeah,
new
sir.
business.
Yep.
That's okay. For Chief McNeil, hey, Chief, any reports about the traffic situation at Nichols Ave and Hawley Lane lately? I got stuck in traffic there a few times after they added the new light.
It's a fiasco.
I know it's a state light, but I think the timing is off. I mean, I was backed up 1.5 miles into Trumbull. Took me 15 minutes to get 1.5 miles. So I'm just wondering if you have any. It sounds like you do. Any insight into that?
The point of order, though, aren't you retired? So time doesn't matter to you?
It shouldn't matter, but when I'm in the car and I'm trying to get somewhere, it's very important. It's always very important.
We're working with Trumbull on that. It is definitely something wrong with that timing. And we got Trumbull residents, Stratford residents. It's a real problem right there. And you know how the state is when you tell them something, They don't want to believe it, but we're pushing hard, and they got to take a look at it and redo it. There's telling us it's not done. It sure looks done to me, and it's a big problem.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure it was on the radar because it's
Yeah, it
kind of
is.
awful. Yeah. Good. Thank
Very
you.
much so.
And number 2 comment is, good job by the PAL guys and Larry, going around. As a taxpayer, I appreciate all that. Good work.
Thanks,
That's
Paul.
it. That's all right.
I second
Any
that as
other?
well on both points. The light at the end of Second Hill of Silver Lane. I honestly would have been shocked if it worked perfectly. And then I wanted to say thanks to Larry too. There, and the whole police department and all the responders that went out and delivered all those packages today. It's all over Facebook. Everybody loved it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Great.
Any other new business? All right, motion to adjourn.
I make the motion.
Thank you, Jim.
I'll second.
Thank you, Paul.
Second.
All right, have a great Christmas holidays on a great
Holiday, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Peace.
Yeah, everybody be safe and healthy. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Oh, wait a
Good.
second. We're approving the schedule for 2021. Everything's going to stay at 7 p.m. the second Tuesday of the month, unless there's a problem. Everything's staying the same. So we'll all talk next year. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Third Tuesday.
Bye.
Yep.
Merry
Bye,
Christmas.
everyone. Have a nice evening.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Get out of here. Leave.
Many more, I hope.